Hello, this is Kyle, and I am going to review a film that, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen, and it's not a new film. It hasn't been put out in theaters for quite a while, but it is the notorious and infamous Disney Pixar Wall-E. And the funny thing about this movie is it's about 12 years old. And really, there is no need to revisit it. There isn't no really anniversary coming up or anything. But after I just saw Onward recently, I thought to myself, I really have seen most of the Disney Pixar films, but haven't seen a couple. I haven't seen Wall-E, I haven't seen Brave, and I mean, it's not Pixar, but it's Disney, and that's Zootopia, which I also haven't seen. And I thought it'd be pretty cool to revisit those films because I have not really seen what all the talk is about. I've heard the awards and the praise that Wall-E and not necessarily Brave, but Zootopia have gotten. So I've always wanted to see Wall-E, actually. I remember when I was little, when the movie was coming out, I really wanted to see it, but my parents, they thought it was kind of silly and stupid looking, so they never took me to go see Wall-E. And because of that, I never saw Wall-E in theaters. And this was around the same time that, like, it was the non-Pixar phase when I didn't really see a lot of Pixar films. I didn't see Up in theaters. Um, I didn't see Cars 2 in theaters. So a lot of the Pixar movies that came out around that time, I just didn't see. Because they didn't look as good as, like, say, Cars 1 did, or Ratatouille did, or um, some of the Toy Story sequels did. But I think what the thing about Wall-E is after watching it, it is not necessarily the film that you think it is when you go to watch it. And that is going to be the prime topic that I'm going to be talking about when I'm talking about Wall-E, because when I saw Wall-E, the trailers of Wall-E make it look like this science fiction-esque, nice, lovable film about a robot. But I watched this film just about an hour ago, and my goodness, this movie is one of the best animated films I think that has ever been made. And one of the reasons why is because of, I thought, the ability for them to not use as much dialogue for their main two characters was such a risk, but yet it pays off so well. And Wall-E, the main character, is just so lovable, relatable, and you feel for him all at the same time. And his character arc is essentially him trying to hold Eva's hand the entire time. And I was watching this movie and I was saying, wow, like, this was Pixar at its peak. And I think that, I mean, even Up technically is Pixar's peak, but what they went for in this film, I feel, was leaps and bounds over what they went for with Up. Because Up, aside from the Ellie and Carl relationship, which is the main theme and entire thing about the movie, I think Up, outside of that, with the dogs and the evil, um, crazy explorer, I don't find Up to be as fun, or I mean, as great as some other people think it is. Um, Whereas Wall-E, I thought, like, just from beginning to end, the film just takes you on this roller coaster and transports you to an Earth in the far distant future. But it's very plausible that Earth could become this way, and it's centered on these global warming. Well, not necessarily global warming, but these protect the earth type issues that are so well articulated through not even speech, but through sound, through image, and I was just completely surprised at what I was watching. The character of Eva is so interesting. Her way that she moves, the way that she uses her gun, her like arm gun hand, and I was like, this is like a comedic effect because when I'm watching it, almost every time her gun is used, it's for a comedic effect, but it's used so brilliantly that you don't even realize that that is a comedic effect at times. You're just laughing at how, um, inopportune the moment comes when she uses it. I would say that the music, the score by Thomas Newman is so magical and majestic. I mean, Thomas Newman's scores are very recognizable. I mean, I could probably be blindfolded, thrown and submerged into water, and I would still be able to recognize a Thomas Newman score. I mean, I'm listening to this score, and I guess he must have used parts from like Finding Nemo. Even a score of Passengers is very reminiscent. I'm listening to the score of Wall-E, and just the idea of both a boy, I guess Wall-E's a boy, and a girl, Eva, um, like in Passengers, has a very similar type story in a way. So the fact that they are using Thomas Newman to show this adventure in space um, is, I think, very fitting for this film. I thought that the human characters were kind of interesting because they were like in a world where they weren't given as much food to eat that would require them to and develop bone structure and everything. So that was a very creative idea, um, and the different types of robots and the designs were all so innovative. And I love that one robot that seemed to um, it was, oh boy, I can't think of it now. But they had different types of um, abilities that were very much like, say, what they would be on Earth, and it was a very much a social commentary on the way that we view machines and how machines have taken over our lives in various ways. This film came out in 2008, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe the iPhone um, was around at that time. Maybe it was, I'm not too sure, but it was just around the inception of the iPhone. So the fact that now everyone is on their iPhones or on their mobile devices, but this film came out before that and it preceded that, is very interesting to me. Of course, Steve Jobs, he ended up, he's one of the founders of Pixar itself. So the idea of a social commentary on mobile devices from a Pixar film is kind of ironic. But I thought that this film is so beautiful in a way that it really tells you the um, state of the universe at this point in the future, yet also reflecting upon the state of the universe in our present point. Where will we go from here? And it's a very optimistic film that by the end, when they finally end up on Earth again, and they're basically regrowing plant life and fertilizing and just starting an entire new civilization, that like I remember I was watching the credits and I thought the credits were very brilliant in their own way on how they would show you the way that they would continually grow plants and they would continually strive to a better future for the human race. Um, it's just, I was just, I was blown away by Wall-E, and I have a Wall-E toy that I found at Goodwill a couple of months ago. And I remember one of my earliest memories of Wally was when I tried to get this like Duracell battery contest and I won it, which was like if you get a certain number of Duracell batteries, you can win a Wally toy. And I won this contest, but the problem was so many people also won the contest that they didn't have enough Wally toys to give to kids. So I think I may have gotten a sticker sheet. I don't remember, but I never got the Wally toy. And a couple months ago, I found a Wally toy at a Goodwill, and I was like, you know what? Like I better get this movie. So I found the DVD at a Goodwill, and really, I could have watched this on Disney Plus, but the thing is that there is no special features aside from the theatrical trailer on Disney Plus, and I think that really home media and physical media are the way to go, especially for these films, because um, the streaming services are amazing, but for some weird reason, at least for me, when I'm watching a Disney Plus, sometimes it will lag, and it just doesn't feel the same as watching a physical media copy of this film. And this film has great special features. It has a short film that they did specifically for Wally called Bernie. They have deleted scenes, which I have not watched. There's audio commentary, a whole featurette on the sound design of this film. And I mean, I just, if you haven't seen Wally, which I don't know how any of you could have, but I hadn't seen Wally since today, so I can understand why um, some other people might not see Wally. I highly recommend Wally. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's it's a I would say it's a perfect film. Um, I can't really find any fault with this film at all. The themes are just so sophisticated. The characters are so lovable and relatable. I mean, Eva literally has probably 2 or 3 lines of dialogue. When I mean dialogue, I mean words. So like she'll either say Wally, Eva, or like no. Like I mean, to have that limited amount of words in a film where they are the main characters, and now they have the other human characters that do speak, but I mean, they are not the main characters, and you feel for Wally and Eva so much as if they are human characters themselves, or at least they speak. That I mean, the design of Wally, his eyes, the way that they just like circle in, the way that he moves, the way that Eva moves. It's just, I mean, as a character development angle, with Wally going from the beginning to pretty beat up condition, but then he gets cleaned up, and then he gets beat up again, and he's almost destroyed. It's just, it's like a metaphor almost on Wally himself as a robot and a human who goes through like heartbreak in a way, but then comes back out the other side to happiness, and um, this the survival of the human race and the idea of being kind to one another and helping the little guy, in this case, a little cockroach that Wally always helps out. It's, I mean, just a visually stunning film, especially when Wally's going through the space um, galaxy and you see all the different constellations and the design of the Earth on how it's not so much Earth as what we know it as now, but just a decaying Earth that has no green at all, and it's now a blue and brown planet. Um, it's so good, and I will highly recommend children watch this film. Highly recommend adults watch this film, and yeah. So I liked Wally. I love Wally, and hopefully I can watch maybe Brave next to see if I can complete um, my Pixar collection. But that'll be all for now, and we will see what I think of Brave. Bye bye.